Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I am Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Hey, I want to give a huge shout out to the person that gave us the idea for this video. It's one of our longtime viewers, Nicholas D. So I'm going to give a huge shout out to Nicholas D. He actually called me with a question, and we pulled up the statute and worked through it together. And that kind of led to the idea to do this video. Now, Nicholas's situation is not that unique. Nicholas likes to attend church every Sunday. Nicholas also enjoys his God-given right of self-defense and likes to carry a firearm with him at all times. Now, his particular parish does not have their own house of worship. Instead, what they do is they rent a facility, and in this case, it's a private school. Well, that begs the question, and this is what we're going to talk about today, which is, can I conceal carry to my church if it meets at a school? Okay, before we get rolling, you guys know the drill. If you like this video, go ahead and click that like button. If you want to stay up to date on issues related to your Second Amendment rights, go ahead and click the subscribe button. Click the little bell logo if you want to be notified when we post new videos. And most importantly, let's keep the comments and discussions coming. That's how we're going to make sure that we're getting our videos out to more lawful and responsible gun owners like yourself. Okay, so let me go back over Nicholas D's situation, because I have a feeling that there are many of you out here who may be in a similar situation. Nicholas is a regular churchgoer, attends church. I assume that it is held on Sundays. His particular parish, the church that he attends, does not have their own house of worship, and they do what many large community non-denominational churches are doing, which is they rent facilities from some other organization. Oftentimes, that is school districts. In fact, in the region that I live, it is very common to see high school gymnasiums, even grade school gymnasiums, to be used for church services on Sundays. Now, Nicholas also understands and enjoys his God-given right of self-defense and his Second Amendment in Article 1, Section 24 right of the ability to carry a firearm with him at all times for the purpose of defending himself and his family. So, the question then is, can Nicholas take this firearm to church with him on Sunday if church is being held at a school? Okay, so before we get too far down that road of analysis, let's take a step back and let's get some baseline rules that we can all agree on. Now, for those of you who've been geeking out on this channel for a while, and I thank all of you, we know that under RCW 9.41.300, our state legislature has listed several places where we cannot take a firearm regardless of our concealed carry status. And those include places such as courthouses, correctional facilities, licensed mental health institutions, as well as areas designated as age 21 and over, and that's just to name a few. However, despite all of the restrictions listed in 941.300, nowhere, anywhere in that statute does it prohibit the possession of firearms, open or concealed, at a house of worship, church, parish, or any other religious facility. Okay, so we know that our churches are not gun-free zones. That doesn't mean that a church can't have its own private policy, but by Washington state law, churches are not gun-free zones. Okay, good, right? No, because now we also know, for those of you who've been watching the channel for a while, that under RCW 9.41.280, we cannot have firearms on primary or secondary schools, public or private, with very, very limited exceptions. Those limited exceptions include us picking up or dropping off the kids, or if we're at school conducting legitimate business, if we have a firearm secured in our car, concealed from view from the outside world, then that is lawful, so long as under both of those scenarios, the person who is in possession of the firearm also has to be in possession of a valid concealed pistol license. Beyond that, there really isn't many exceptions. Okay, so what is the controlling statute here? Is it RCW 9.41.300 that lists all of our gun-free zones and says, hey, that doesn't count? Or is it RCW 9.41.280 says you can't have guns at schools, but we got to remember that this is taking place on a Sunday and there's no schooling going on at that particular time in the traditional sense? Well, as usual, we had to go through the statute, and of course, one of the big problems when we take a look at RCW 9.41.280, the statute that prohibits firearms on school grounds, is that our legislature has wrote a statute that looks like this. And so what I'm going to try to do today is take this long, convoluted statute, pull out the pieces that actually matters to this particular question, and try to come to a conclusion with all of you. Now, just to give away the punchline, I am going to come to the conclusion that RCW 9.41.280 controls, and therefore, no, you cannot take a firearm onto school grounds, even if you're there for religious purposes. But let me explain why. Let's take a look at the very first section of RCW 941.280, subsection 1, because it very clearly states, it is unlawful for a person to carry onto or to possess on public or private elementary or secondary school premises, school-provided transportation, or areas of facilities while being used exclusively by public or private schools, any firearm. And so I think that the language right there makes it very clear that we cannot carry onto nor possess on any public school transportation that's meant, or any school, I should say, public or private, or any transportation for public or private, or any other areas of facilities while being used exclusively for school purposes. And so, Nicholas D., if the private school that your parish was renting from had some type of other facility, whether it was on the campus or maybe somewhere else, and your parish was using that facility, I believe that under subsection 1, you would have a plausible argument that that is not an area or facility that is being used exclusively for school purposes, and there could be an exception under that limited basis. But the other reason that I've come to the conclusion that 280 is the controlling statute and that the answer is no to this question is after we weed through all of the other minutia that's in this statute, we come all the way down to subsection 6, and that subsection very clearly states, except as provided in subsection 3B, C, F, and H of this section, firearms are not permitted in a public or private school building. So right there, they're just saying, listen, there are exceptions in this statute. They're found in 3B, C, F, and H. And if you don't fall under any one of those exceptions, firearms are not permitted in school buildings. So what are those exceptions? Well, 3B is any member of law enforcement, the United States military, or any armed security working at the school. 3C is for any person who's involved in a convention or some other demonstration where the display or use of firearms would be part of the activities there, not like any school would ever permit that to occur. 3F is any student who's at least 18 years of age and has a firearm secured away and concealed in their car. And finally, 3H is any law enforcement agency, whether it's local, municipal, county, state, or federal. Nowhere in this statute does it provide an exception for those who are on school grounds but attending religious services. So the bottom line for us here in the state of Washington is, can you carry a firearm to your church on Sunday if your church is meeting at a school facility? The answer, I believe, is no. I believe that despite what RCW 9.41.300 restricts and does not restrict, the controlling statute here is RCW 9.41.280. And I think that when we read the plain language of subsection 1 as well as subsection 6, and look at what few limited exceptions there actually are in the statute in subsection 3, I think the legislature has made it very clear that firearms under any circumstances are not permitted on school grounds. Listen, you may have more questions about this issue or anything else related to your Second Amendment rights, and if you do, don't ever hesitate to contact us at WashingtonGunLaw.com, or of course you can call us directly at 425-765-0487. Now, let's remember, part of being a lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here at Washington Gun Law, is to know what the law is in every situation and how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching. Stay safe. Hey there, everyone. Thanks for watching Washington Gun Law TV. Hey, I just want to remind all of you that we are going live once again Monday, April 4th at 7 p.m. That's Monday, April 4th at 7 p.m. We're going to do a 1-hour live chat. Bring your thoughts, bring your ideas, bring your questions. Most importantly, bring yourself. We had a ton of fun doing it last time, and I hope it works out as well this time around. So join us once again, Monday, April 4th, 7 p.m. Pacific time, right here on YouTube. In the meantime, thanks for your support, and stay safe.